Stop getting used to the smell of your own BS. Where's the action? You can't win if you don't begin. I'm gonna just let you sit with that. What talents, skills, and opportunities do you have? Say my name, say my name. I'm sorry, was that cringy? What's good, you guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of the 86 Bull podcast. That just feels so good to say. Like, we're on episode 2, so let's get straight to it. A lesson that I believe most people go through, including myself, when you're on a journey of self-improvement is learning and understanding how to become intentional, mindful, and aware. If you want to reach your full potential, you have to have a really good sense of direction. You have to know who you are deep down. If you don't identify who you are in the present, who you've been in the past, then you're not really going to be able to hit that target of who you want to become. Being aware of yourself in order to live an intentional life, you need to figure out what are your strengths and weaknesses. You need to figure out what is your purpose. What are your likes and dislikes? What are you interested in? What are your values and morals? Things of that nature. Figure out where you've been, the person you are currently, and then from there you can figure out, okay, where am I going? Today we live in a culture that is filled with clout, social media, cancel culture. There's just so much noise in our day-to-day lives. That noise is family, friends, relationships, again, social media, news. It's like there's so many trending avenues, but there's very little voices of sound, reason, or judgment. Today there's a lot of mindless behavior and people just living on autopilot. And I've definitely lived on autopilot. I was just on cruise control, just letting day by day happen, going wherever the wind takes me, just going through the motions. But I believe it is our job, our duty to discover our purpose. That is why we are here. That is why God put us here. We are here for a purpose that is bigger than ourselves. And a way to start a journey of awareness in order to be mindful and intentional is start paying attention to your passions and fuel them. So for me, that looks like reading more books that contained wisdom and knowledge. I've been a person that people typically come to advice for, and that's something that I love to do. For me, that's like fuel. It's a drive for me. It is a gift. And I love to do it. So I was like, I need to start fueling it by reading and obtaining more wisdom and knowledge if I want to continue to be insightful and helpful to other people. Another aspect that was fueling my passions was journaling. A lot of the times I have so many thoughts and they all get jumbled in my brain, and sometimes I don't get them out. And so for me, journaling is a great way to like unscramble my brain. I'm able to just decompress and just get all of my thoughts out in a journal. So I've been feeding myself by reading more in order to obtain knowledge and wisdom, spending time in prayer and reading my Bible in order to grow my faith, by feeding my passions that ultimately led to more growth. So moving forward, how do we implement a regimen of awareness, intentionality, and mindfulness? I'm glad you asked. First things first, what do you want to do? Again, I'm going to quote John C. Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. There is definitely a connection between finding your passion and reaching your full potential. Any successful person that is truly happy with what they're doing, it's because there is a passion, there is a drive behind it. They're not just running businesses or being a doctor because they just want to make a living, they just want some money. Someone who is successful, there is passion behind it that is fueling them and they've reached their potential. What do you want to do? This is your life. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to live up to anybody else's expectations. You don't have to live up to your parents' expectations, to what your friends and peers are doing. If you don't want to go to school, okay, you don't want to go to school. If you want to be a dancer, you want to be a dancer. If you want to start a podcast, you can start a podcast. If you want to be a doctor and everyone's telling you, oh, like you're not smart enough, go ahead and become a doctor. Apply, study. What is it that you want to do? What is your passion? Go for it. I mean, you only live one life. Are you going to go through it 50, 40, 60 years not living your dreams? When you find your passion and you seek it out and you live it, it gives you energy. It makes you want to wake up in the morning. It creates a fire within you. Life is way too short to live to other people's expectations of what you should do. Why not go after your dreams and desires? And if you're in your head saying, well, I can't do it, I'm not smart enough, there's already enough people in that field. Okay, but what if you went after it and what if it did work out, huh? what if it did happen for you? What then? And know this, your passion gives you an advantage over other people. It gives you the upper hand because you have a drive, you have fire. So you're going to want to make it work, right? Because it's something that you love to do. So whatever your passion is, whatever you plan to do, whether that's join the workforce, travel, start a cooking page, go for it. Keep searching for it. Don't give up. Keep going when the going gets hard. Napoleon Hill. Keep going after it because you know what? It's going to find you and you're going to find it and it's going to work. Trust me. And I'll leave you with one more quote by a philosopher who I can't think of the name right off the top of my head and I don't feel like researching it at this very moment in time, but it goes along the lines of the unexamined life is not worth living. I'm gonna just let you sit with that. The unexamined life is not worth living. So, I'm just gonna stay in with my little blinders on. I'm just gonna do what's expected of me. No one in my family ever made it out. I'm gonna be a sheeple. I'm just gonna keep going with the crowd. I'm not gonna go against the grain. Yeah, that's not worth living. Okay. Number two, to being aware in order to be mindful and find those passions. It is, okay, what talents, skills, and opportunities do you have? So I'm gonna backtrack it up to me real quick. When I was a little girl, I wanted to be an actress so bad, maybe even a singer, talking about, say my name, if no one is around you, say baby I love you, if you ain't running games. Let me stop. So yes, your girl very much wanted to be a little actress, okay, and possibly a singer, but you kind of need to know the difference between what you're good at and what you want. Those two don't always go hand in hand. Yes, when I was a little kid, that's what I wanted and I thought that was going to be the life for me. But God had a different plan. And even though, yes, I'm good at acting, I'm good at singing, it's not necessarily what I'm meant to do, if that makes sense. So when you're looking at those skills, talents, and opportunities, yes, there may be things that you want, but what are you good at? What satisfies you? Ultimately, what fulfills you? Yes, I love to sing and I love to act, but that doesn't give me as much fulfillment as communicating with people and touching other people and just having conversations that go across the board, from deep talks to just random stuff. I truly love connecting with people. That brings me fulfillment. Also, do you know what your values and priorities are? The more you line these two up, the greater your success is at finding your passion, leading to your full potential. If you're doing something that is not really lining up with your values and morals, I don't know how good that's gonna play out. Number 3, what is your motive? It is equally important to find out what you want to do, but the reason as to why you want to do it. Those two go hand in hand. The right motives help you build a positive relationship to what you're working towards. Let's say your goal is to, create a TikTok page. You want to grow a social media presence on Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, right? That's what you want to do. But your only reason for doing it is because you want to go viral and have a bunch of followers. I guarantee you're not going to follow through, probably, if that is your motive, only to go viral. If there is no passion behind it, you're most likely not going to follow through. And you got to see it through, my boy. I'm sorry, was that cringy? Anyways, getting back on track. So, for me, creating a podcast. Yes, I want to grow my podcast and I want to have a following, but the ultimate goal is not to have millions and millions of followers and be viral. Of course, that would be nice, but the ultimate goal is to grow a community of like-minded individuals, to grow relationships and friendships that help people, that are fruitful, that are insightful, that have substance and value. That's what I'm all about, okay? I don't want anything in my life that does not have substance or value. So that is the main purpose behind this podcast. It is to have content that actually helps you. That's not just mindless. That's not just on autopilot. You're not mindlessly scrolling. It's giving you something to think about. It's food for thought. That is the purpose behind what I am doing. That is the motive that's building a positive relationship in what I'm pursuing. Whatever it is, you need to identify that motive. Your motive is going to give you fuel. Trust me, there's going to be ups and downs when you're finding your passion and following through with it. There's going to be moments of doubt and you're going to be discouraged and you're going to hit those stumbling blocks. But the motive behind it is going to keep you going, because in the back of your head, you're like, okay, I know that if I continue with ABC, XYZ is going to happen, right? Find that motive so that way it can fuel you. Number 4, What can you do today in order to implement awareness, to be intentional, in order to get your full potential? Let's get into it. Awareness, action, accountability. Those are things that you can do today. So let's start with the first one, awareness. Let's be real with ourselves. What are our weaknesses? What are our strengths? I'm looking in the mirror. Katie, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Well, we can start with the weaknesses. You get distracted quite easily, babe. Social media does take up a big majority of your time. Basically, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get what you want? You have to be willing to make an identity switch. And this was a journal entry that I wrote, September 3rd of 2022. Make an identity switch. Who do you want to become? What are you willing to sacrifice in order to get what you want? That's being aware. Okay, let's see what I wrote. I said, I want to obtain knowledge to become smarter. I want to understand financial markets. I want to be my own boss. Those are my wants. So what am I willing to sacrifice? I'm willing to sacrifice my comfortability. I'm willing to sacrifice my social media. I'm willing to sacrifice my friends. I want to expand my vocabulary, so I'm willing to read more. I want to have productive mornings, so I'm willing to go to bed on time. What are you willing to give up in order to get what you want? And let me tell you that reading for me, yeah, I talked about that in the first episode. That was very hard. I'm gonna tell you this. In school, you know how you had to do like the popcorn reading, or like they'd be like reading down the rows? I was that kid. Kid you not, who I would count like how many people were ahead of me and then count what I was supposed to read and like read it in my head 5 or 6 or 7 times. So that way when it came to my turn to reading it out loud, like I said it perfectly. I don't know. I just hate reading. It's not something I like to do, but I always knew that it's something that I needed to overcome. It's something that I needed to become better at because I do like communicating with people. I like sounding smart. So I was like, you know what, girl, you need to read more. You need to learn to like to read. And what did I do? I got a book that actually I was interested in. And I'm gonna give you another tip. If you don't like to read, try reading out loud and in character. See what it does for you. Okay, we covered awareness. Now action. Do it now. I'm sorry, but you can't win if you don't begin. Come on, okay? If you don't get started now, like tomorrow's not promised, babe. You might not be here tomorrow, so you might as well get started now. If you want to lose weight, if you want to have a dream body, like when I'm 25, I imagine I'm gonna be, I'm gonna look like this. Well, are you in the gym right now, or are you on the couch eating potato chips and not drinking enough water? You have to start now. If you only do it when you feel like it, you're not going to do it. What did I say last week? Let me find it. The law of diminishing intent. The longer you wait to do something you know you should do now, the greater the odds that you're not going to do it. I'm sorry, but where's the action? You have to start now. Stop getting used to the smell of your own BS because it's not cute. Sometimes like you have to be your own cheerleader. And you have to be brutally honest with yourself and just snap out of it. Stop making excuses because no one is coming to save you. Your mom, your dad, your friends, no one's coming to save you. No one cares about you. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And that's the type of world that we live in today. Nobody cares about you. No one is really going to be there for you, making sure you turn in your essays, making sure you're recording that episode, making sure that you're learning those dance moves. No one cares. So you have to be the one in your corner being your own champion saying, hey, okay, what do we need to do today? We need to get up. We need to take action. And 3, accountability. When you're on your path of finding that passion, leading to your potential, yes, you're going to fall. You're going to have days where you get off track. And this is where accountability comes into frame. You have to hold yourself accountable and don't just sweep it under the rug. Okay, you cannot do that. How can you be accountable? Keep track. Try this. One way I keep track is keeping a calendar and planning out my month and seeing if I'm hitting my targets. That's a way you can be accountable. If your goal is to, let's say, lose weight or tone up for the month, plan out your workouts. I'm working out 4 days a week, 5 days a week. These are my exercises that I'm going to be hitting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever it is for you. In total, I'm going to have, 30 workouts for the month, 20 workouts for the month. Let's say that I'm going to have 20 workouts for the month. You write it all down. And at the end of the month, hold yourself accountable. Each day that you go to the gym, you check it off and see, did I meet my mark? Did I not meet my mark? If I met my mark, now keep track of what worked for you. What worked for me was setting out my clothes ahead of time. If you didn't meet your mark, okay, let me find out what didn't work for me. Oh, well, I decided to stay up late and I had ice cream, late before I went to bed, and that hindered me from getting to the gym the next day. Keep track of all those little things, and that will help you be accountable for your actions. Awareness, actions, accountability. That's how you can take steps today. 5, I ain't even gotta get really deep with this, but what price are you willing to pay? Is it gonna take X amount of time? Is it gonna take a year, 2 years? What price are you willing to pay? Are you gonna have to study? Are you gonna have to stay up late? Are you gonna have to pick up an extra shift? What are you willing to pay in order to achieve what you want, to reach that potential, to be aware, to implement intentionality? What are you willing to pay? Just ask yourself, like, are you willing to do what it takes? Short, sweet, simple. What are you willing to do? Lastly, what do you need to do, or what area do you need to grow in right now in order to implement this law of awareness? When you start to go after your passion, it is going to be the hardest thing. It's going to be very difficult. But where there is difficulty, there is strength. You are only made strong where you are weak. And let me tell you something. You need to get comfortable with your weakness. That's how you're going to overcome it. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm going to tell one more story, a little sidetrack about me. So last year, 2022, in September, I came out to South Dakota. My father moved out here, and I came out to South Dakota for 4 months in order to create consistency and discipline in areas of my life that were lacking. In the whole 4 months that I was here, I was spending time with family. I was away from my friends and family from California. That's where I'm from. And I saw so much growth within myself. And I believe that I saw so much growth because this was a new environment. It was uncomfortable and I didn't know anybody. It put a fire under my butt because I was like, you are here to make things happen. You are here to get the ball rolling. And I was in an uncomfortable space. So I had no room to be lackadaisical and just go with the motions. I was here on a mission. So that's what I was doing for 4 months. I was just focused, grinding, studying, being in my own lane. Went back out to California at the end of December. I was here from September to December, went back to California thinking I was going to stay in California. Literally was only in California for 2 weeks, and the Lord was dealing with me and my spirit. I wanted to go back to California, but I realized it wasn't for me. It was too comfortable. I knew that I would not continue to grow being in my safe space. And so I realized that I needed to come back out to South Dakota. Never in a million years thought I would do it. Never. But I knew if I wanted to continue my growth and have exponential growth for this next year, 2023, I knew that I needed to come back out to South Dakota and to work on myself and to follow through with opportunities, because I have an opportunity out here and I'm not going to speak on that. But this is a place that causes me to be uncomfortable. In my weakness, there is strength, because you will only be made strong in your weakness. So if you want to figure out where you need to grow, identify your strengths, yes, but also identify your weakness, because if you don't challenge that weakness, that's going to hold you back. But if you decide to get comfortable with that weakness, it's going to propel you forward. When you are uncomfortable, that's going to force you to move. It's going to force you to make a change. When we're comfortable, we're cruising. No, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Identify those strengths, identify those weaknesses, identify where you are too comfortable, and start to get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. I hope you got that. Alrighty, so just a little recap, because I know we touched on a lot for this second episode. I want you to ask yourself these questions in order to implement a regimen of awareness in your life in order to gain your potential. What is it you would like to do? What are your talents, skills, opportunities? What is your motive behind it? What can you do now? Remember, awareness, action, accountability. What is the price you're willing to pay, and where do you need to get started right now? I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I'm getting better at this. It feels better already by the second episode. I just know that this show is going to continue to grow and get better. The more and more that I do this, the more that I am feeding my passion, the better that I'm going to get at it. I already feel like I'm becoming more comfortable with the camera and everything. I love this, and make sure y'all tune in to episode 3, okay? But you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all that YouTuber stuff. And you can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Stitcher. Thank you guys. Stay blessed. Mwah.